I've been working non-stop for weeks. The hospital's understaffed and I'm the only one covering the night shift. My eyes feel like sandpaper, my brain is numb, and all I can think about is sleep. I stumble through the empty corridors, my footsteps echoing off the walls as I make my way to the break room. The fluorescent lights above flicker, casting an otherworldly glow over everything. I pour myself a cup of cold coffee, the bitter taste a poor substitute for the warmth and comfort that only sleep can bring. As I gaze blankly into the cup, my eyes begin to droop, weighed down by the exhaustion that threatens to consume me whole. I force myself to focus on the task at hand, restocking the medication cart. The repetitive motion of counting pills and checking expiration dates becomes a form of meditation, allowing me to temporarily escape the crushing fatigue that's been my constant companion for weeks. But even as I work, my mind begins to wander. I find myself replaying fragments of conversations with colleagues, wondering if they're as miserable as I am. The hospital's dark past looms over everything, a constant reminder of the horrors that lie just beyond the veil of sanity. Patients have been known to experience terrifying hallucinations, and some have even reported hearing disembodied whispers in their ears when alone. It's as if the very walls are watching us, waiting for us to crack under the pressure. I push the thoughts aside, focusing on the task at hand. But as I reach for a bottle of pain medication, my fingers hesitate. Something feels off. A shiver runs down my spine as I glance around the empty break room, wondering if anyone's watching me from the shadows. It's then that I notice it. A small, unassuming CD player on the counter, plugged into an old computer with a single recording playing in the background. The music is soft and soothing, but there's something about it that sends a chill down my spine. It's ASMR, I realize, trying to calm the listener's nerves before diving into some sort of horror game. I feel a presence behind me, but when I turn, there's no one there. The music continues to play, and for a moment, I'm transfixed by its hypnotic rhythm. It's then that I see it, a title on the screen etched in red letters, "Welcome to Slumberia." I approach the CD player cautiously, my heart racing with a mix of curiosity and trepidation. The music continues to play, its gentle hum filling the air as I examine the recording more closely. It's an old ASMR session, recorded in a dimly lit room with a single microphone perched on a desk. The voice guiding me through the experience is soft and melodic, but there's something unsettling about it, like a whispered secret just out of earshot. As I listen, I begin to feel a creeping sense of unease, as if I'm being pulled into a world that's both familiar and yet utterly alien. The guide mentions a game called Somnium, an immersive horror experience designed to push players to the edge of sanity. I feel a shiver run down my spine as I realize I've stumbled upon something much darker than I ever could have imagined. Suddenly, the music skips and dies, leaving only static in its wake. The computer screen flickers back to life, displaying a message in bold red letters. "You are now in Somnium." The words seem to sear themselves into my brain, like a branding iron on my very soul. I feel a presence closing in around me, as if the game has somehow invaded my reality. Panic sets in and I spin around the room searching for an escape route, but there's none. Somnium seems to have become a part of me, seeping into my pores like a cold, dark liquid. And then I hear it, the whispering. Soft and raspy, it begins as a gentle hum, but grows louder with each passing moment. "Welcome home," it hisses, echoing in my mind like a mantra. I try to shake off the feeling of unease, telling myself it's just my imagination playing tricks on me. But as I sit in front of the computer, the whispering grows louder, more insistent. I feel a presence beside me, and when I turn, there's no one there. The screen flickers back to life, displaying a menu for Somnium. I hesitate for a moment, wondering if I should investigate further, but my curiosity gets the better of me and I click on the play button. The game loads with a slow, eerie crawl, like a dead man's fingers dragging across the screen. The title screen appears, displaying a cryptic message. "You are the dreamer." Below it, a small image of a woman appears, her face twisted in a macabre grin. I feel a chill run down my spine as I realize that this must be the guide from the ASMR recording. Suddenly, the game begins to play, and I'm transported into a world that's both familiar and yet utterly alien. The camera pans across a desolate landscape, showing me crumbling buildings, overgrown with vines and moss. In the distance, I see a figure walking towards me, its pace slow and deliberate. As it approaches, I realize it's the woman from the title screen. She regards me with an unblinking stare, her eyes seeming to bore into my very soul. "Hello," she says, her voice like silk on glass. "I've been waiting for you." As I delve deeper into the world of Somnium, I find myself increasingly drawn to the darker corners of the internet. I stumble upon a Reddit forum dedicated to the game, and the posts are like a revelation, users sharing their own experiences with the game and the horrors they've unleashed within themselves. The threads are filled with warnings, pleas for help, and tales of those who have succumbed to its power. I feel a shiver run down my spine as I read through the posts, realizing that I'm not alone in this descent into madness. Others have been there too, and they're willing to share their stories. I see references to the entity, a presence that lurks within Somnium, feeding on our fears and our sanity. The more I read, the more I become convinced that I've stumbled upon something sinister, something that threatens to consume me whole. I start to wonder if the game is more than just a simple horror experience, if it's actually a doorway to some darker realm, one from which there's no return. As I scroll through the threads, I come across a post from a user named Echo12, claiming to have been trapped in Somnium for weeks, forced to relive the same night over and over again. The post is dated months ago, but something about it resonates with me like a warning from someone who's seen the horrors that lie ahead. I feel a sense of unease, as if I'm being watched by unseen eyes. And then I see it, an image uploaded to the thread, a screenshot from Somnium itself. It shows a room, identical to my own break room, but with one key difference. The CD player is playing the ASMR recording, and the woman's face is staring back at me from the screen. I feel a chill run down my spine as I realize that the sinister force behind Somnium is not just a game, but a malevolent entity that's been lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce. The more I delve into the Reddit threads, the more I uncover evidence of its existence. Some users claim to have seen shadowy figures lurking in their bedrooms at night, while others report hearing whispers in their ears when they're alone. It's as if the entity is watching us, studying our every move. I start to feel like I'm trapped in a nightmare from which I'll never awaken. But then, I stumble upon a thread that makes my blood run cold. A user named Skeptic claims to have uncovered evidence of the entity's true nature, a dark conspiracy involving corrupt government agents and shadowy organizations. According to Skeptic, Somnium is not just a game, but a tool for mind control. The entity is using it to manipulate players, bending them to its will. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. Could it be true? Am I just a pawn in some twisted game? I start to wonder if I should take Skeptic's claims seriously, or if they're just another conspiracy theory. But as I continue to read through the thread, I realize that there's something more sinister at play. The evidence is too compelling to ignore, and it's all pointing to one thing. I'm not just a player in Somnium, but a key part of its dark design. As I delve deeper into the world of Somnium, I start to feel a creeping sense of dread. It's as if the entity is taking hold, seeping into my mind and heart. The game seems to be changing, evolving to suit its own twisted purposes. The levels become more distorted, the environments more surreal. I see things that can't be explained, ghostly apparitions, disembodied voices, and an endless loop of the ASMR recording. It's as if I'm trapped in a never-ending nightmare with no escape. I try to resist, but it's too late. The entity has taken hold, its grip on my mind tightening like a vice. I feel my thoughts becoming jumbled, my perceptions distorted. Reality itself seems to be unraveling. And then, there are the visions, fleeting glimpses of things that shouldn't exist. A world beyond our own, where twisted creatures lurk in the shadows. It's as if Somnium is showing me a glimpse of its true nature, a realm of madness and terror where the laws of physics no longer apply. I'm trapped in this never-ending loop, unable to escape the entity's grasp. And then there's the voice, a low, raspy whisper that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. "You're mine now," it says. "Forever." The words echo through my mind, haunting me like a specter of doom. I'm lost in Somnium, trapped in its twisted world of madness and terror, and there's no escape. I'm trapped in Somnium, unable to escape the entity's grasp. The game has become a constant barrage of sensory input, flashing lights, piercing sounds, and an endless loop of the ASMR recording. My mind is reeling, my thoughts fragmenting into chaos. I try to focus on the game, but it's like trying to solve a puzzle while being attacked by a swarm of bees. The entity is manipulating me, pushing me to the edge of sanity. I see things that can't be explained, ghostly apparitions, disembodied voices, and an endless loop of myself screaming. It's like my mind has become a horror movie, with no escape from the terror. I try to hold on to my grip on reality, but it's slipping away like sand between my fingers. The entity is laughing at me, taunting me with its power. "You'll never escape," it says. "You're mine now." I feel my sanity unraveling thread by thread. I'm a puppet on strings, dancing to the entity's twisted tune. And then there's the moment of clarity, a flash of insight that makes me realize the true horror of Somnium. The game isn't just a game, it's a prison, designed to trap souls like mine forever. The entity is not just a force, it's a manifestation of my own darkest fears. I'm trapped in this never-ending loop, and there's no escape from the terror that lurks within. As I delve deeper into Somnium, the boundaries between reality and nightmare begin to blur. The game is no longer just a simulation, it's becoming my life. I see the world around me as a twisted reflection of the game's surreal landscapes. Every step I take feels like a choreographed dance from a horror movie. The entity is whispering in my ear, its voice a constant presence that makes my skin crawl. I try to resist, but it's too late. Somnium has become my reality, and I'm trapped in its never-ending loop of terror. The ASMR recording is no longer just a sound. It's a heartbeat that pulses through every cell of my body. I can feel the entity's presence, watching me, waiting for me to make a wrong move. I try to run, but my legs feel heavy, as if they're stuck in molasses. Every step feels like a struggle, as if I'm fighting against an invisible force that's determined to consume me whole. And then there's the vision, a glimpse of myself trapped in Somnium, forever doomed to relive the same nightmare over and over again. It's a vision that haunts me, a constant reminder of my fate. The entity is not just a force, it's a monster that's been awakened within me. I'm no longer just a player, I'm its latest victim. And as I look around, I see the world for what it truly is, a twisted realm of nightmares, where the boundaries between reality and madness are blurred beyond recognition. I've been playing Somnium for what feels like an eternity, with no end in sight. My eyes are bloodshot, my skin is pale, and my mind is a jumbled mess of confusion and fear. I can feel the weight of my exhaustion bearing down on me like a physical force, crushing me beneath its unyielding pressure. My thoughts are fragmented and disjointed, my senses dulled by the relentless barrage of stimuli that Somnium throws at me. I'm a zombie, shambling through the digital world with all the vitality of a sleep-deprived husk. My fingers are numb, my hands shaking as I try to navigate the twisted landscapes of the game. The ASMR recording is still echoing in my ears, its constant whispering driving me slowly mad. I feel like I'm drowning in a sea of white noise, unable to escape the crushing weight of Somnium's relentless assault on my sanity. And then, there's the voice, that low, raspy whisper that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. "You're not tired," it says. "You're just getting started." I try to laugh, but my throat is dry and scratchy, my vocal cords hoarse from lack of use. The voice laughs too, a cold, mirthless sound that sends shivers down my spine. I'm trapped in this nightmare, with no escape in sight. The sleep deprivation crisis has descended upon me like a physical force, crushing me beneath its unyielding pressure. I'm just a shell of my former self, a hollow husk of a person reduced to mere survival, mowed by the relentless onslaught of Somnium's digital horrors. I've hit rock bottom. My mind is a jumble of fears and anxieties, my body racked with pain and exhaustion. I'm trapped in Somnium, unable to escape the endless loop of terror that it has become. The entity is laughing at me now, its voice a cold, mirthless whisper that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. "You'll never leave," it says. "You're mine now." I feel a surge of desperation rise up within me, a primal urge to survive that consumes every fiber of my being. I'm no longer thinking clearly, no longer rational. I'm driven by a singular focus: escape. I'll do whatever it takes to get out of this digital hellhole, even if it means sacrificing everything else in my life. My friends and family are concerned about me now, but I ignore them. I'm too far gone, too consumed by the obsession that has taken hold of me. Somnium is my world now, and I'll do whatever it takes to survive in its twisted realm. The ASMR recording is still echoing in my ears, its constant whispering driving me mad with a sense of desperation and urgency. I'm a prisoner of my own making, trapped in this digital purgatory by the very thing that was supposed to be my escape. And yet, I keep playing. I keep pushing forward, no matter how far down the rabbit hole I go. It's not just about survival now, it's about revenge. Revenge against the entity that has consumed me whole, revenge against Somnium for its relentless assault on my sanity. I'll play until I win, until I emerge victorious from this digital nightmare. And when I do, when I finally escape, I'll make sure the world knows what happened to me in Somnium. I've finally reached the end of Somnium, but it's not the escape I was hoping for. As I emerge from the digital realm, I'm met with a horror beyond anything I could have imagined. The world around me is twisted and distorted, like a reflection in a funhouse mirror. The skis are blood red, the trees are twisted and gnarled, and the very ground beneath my feet seems to writhe and twist like a living thing. And then, there's the entity. It's not just a presence, it's a force that surrounds me, envelops me, and consumes me whole. I try to scream, but my voice is drowned out by the cacophony of terror that erupts from every direction. The entity is unleashing its full fury upon the world, and I'm right at its center. I feel my mind shattering, my sanity unraveling as the horrors of somnium come flooding back into reality. I see the faces of those who were trapped with me, their eyes black as coal, their skin gray and decaying. I hear the whispers of the ASMR recording, its constant whispering growing louder and more insistent until it's a deafening scream in my ear. And then there's the darkness. It's a presence that surrounds me, a void that sucks all light and warmth out of the world. I feel myself being pulled into its depths, consumed by its infinite nothingness. And yet, I know that I'm not alone. The entity is with me, its presence coursing through my veins like liquid fire. It's a force that drives me forward, a power that propels me deeper into the heart of madness. I am no longer human. I am the horror unleashed. I am somnium. I've lost all sense of time. The world around me is a perpetual twilight, with no discernible dawn or dusk to mark the passage of hours. The entity's presence is always there, a constant hum of malevolent energy that vibrates through every molecule of my being. I'm trapped in this abyssal realm, forever bound to the whims of somnium's twisted logic. My mind is shattered, my thoughts fragmented into 1,000 disjointed shards that refuse to cohere into anything resembling coherence. The ASMR recording is still echoing in my ears, its incessant whispering driving me slowly mad with a sense of creeping dread. I see things that can't be explained, ghostly apparitions that flit at the edge of my vision, shadowy figures that lurk just beyond the reach of my perception. They're always there, watching me, waiting for me to make another move in this endless dance of terror. And yet, I'm drawn deeper, inexorably pulled towards some unknown abyss by the entity's insistent tug. I know that I'll never escape, that somnium will consume me whole and leave nothing but a hollow shell in its wake. It's a thought that fills me with a sense of cold, calculating despair. And yet, I press on, driven by some morbid curiosity, some perverse fascination with the very heart of madness. For in this abyssal realm I've discovered a strange, twisted beauty, a world where horrors are not just things that happen to you, but things that you become. I am no longer human. I am somnium. And in this eternal darkness I have found a twisted sense of home.